بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
وآله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأراضين أجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف. اللهم كل وليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا وامن علينا برضاه وهب لنا رأفته ورحمته ودعاه وخيره. First, I congratulate you for birth anniversary of Imam Mahdi Ajalallah Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif, and I pray that inshallah grant you lots of gifts inshallah tonight and tomorrow, and also I pray that Allah blesses the humanity in general by making Faraj inshallah nearer and inshallah easier. We pray for safety and protection of all innocent people. Because of great occasion that we are witnessing, so this week and next week I shift to another topic. Normally we speak about history of Shia Islam on Saturdays, and we are in the period of major occultation. But this week and next week inshallah I talk about signs of coming of Imam Mahdi Ajalallah Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif. So what inshallah we will discuss is an introduction to this topic plus different types of signs. Some are decisive, some are not, some are happening in the sky, some happening on the earth. Different classifications of them. Inshallah we refer to them, but we will especially focus on some of those decisive ones inshallah. And this is a discussion that can help us, especially the decisive ones, to be prepared and to be expecting when something with all these details is explained to us. It means that this is certain to happen, and we can be prepared, especially if we see some of these happening. So first we start with what is alam, because in hadith we have several terms used to refer to the signs. One is alam, and the plural form is alamat. Like we have alamatul mu'min, the hadith of Imam Askar alayhi salam, or other places, signs of believers. We have also signs for zuhur. And alama comes from the root of ilm, means something by which you can know. So it's a kind of guide towards something else. And this is a very common term. For example, we have alamatu khuruj al-Mahdi. What is the sign of advent of Imam Mahdi? Or we have قبل قيام القائم خمس علامات محتومات. Before uprising of Imam Mahdi, there are 5 signs which are decisive. The next term which is used is ayah. Ayah means again sign. For example, we have آیتان تکونان قبل قیام القائم. Before the uprising of Mahdi, there will be two ayah, two signs. Not that there are no more. Two are mentioned here. Whenever we say there are two, three in many hadiths, it's not meant to be exhausting all the numbers. Sometimes it is mentioned as Quddam, means before. Means before the coming, this happens. For example, قدام هذا الأمر علامات. Before this matter happens, there are signs. Or قبل هذا الأمر means before coming of Mahdi. As Sufyani. One of the signs is خروج Sufyani, as we will talk. So علامة, آية, قدام, قبل are expressions which are used in the hadith about signs of reappearance of Imam Mahdi Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif. Scholars divide signs in different ways. One is signs which are decisive or not decisive. Hatmi or mahtum means decisive. Certainly they are going to happen. There are signs which are not decisive. Means they are mentioned but not as something that must happen. Another division is signs which are muttasil or munfasil. There are signs which will be connected to the time of zuhur. There is no gap between them. As soon as these signs are seen, zuhur happens. There wouldn't be too long. But some are munfasil, separate. For example, when it comes to killing of nafs zakiyya, that we will talk about it, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam said, ليس بين قيام القائم وبين قتل النفس الزكية إلا 15 ليلة. Between killing of nafs zakiyya and the uprising of Imam Mahdi is only 15 nights. So this is muttasil. 15 nights means soon after that qiyam happens. But munfasil, like for example, in some hadiths we find that one of the things that happened before coming of Imam Mahdi is decline of Bani Abbas. At the time that people thought, Bani Abbas are very established, very powerful, they were told Bani Abbas are going to go to decline. Hope this happened, but it's munfasil. It doesn't mean that soon after that, after Bani Abbas, many other dynasties and caliphates were there. So this is another classification. The third classification is to divide signs of zuhur into those things which are ordinary or extraordinary. For example, Khuruj Sufyani is ordinary in the sense that there is no extraordinary incident. Many bad people have been, throughout the history, more or less. Unfortunately, this is expected from human beings, that يفسد فيها ويسفك الدماء. Or قتل نفس زكية, many murders have taken place, many prophets were killed, Imam Hussein was killed, or Imams were killed. This is not something very exceptional. But maybe by contrast you can better understand that those things which are extraordinary, like the coal from sky, that inshallah we'll talk, everyone in the world would understand. in their own languages, they hear this call. This is not ordinary. Or Khasf al-Bayda, when Sufyan and his army are swallowed by the earth. This is not ordinary, it's extraordinary. It's a kind of miracle, kind of extraordinary thing. Another classification is to divide signs of zuhur into the things which are happening in the sky, in heaven, or on the earth. For example, a call will be heard from sky, or there will be sun eclipse, moon eclipse in the months of Ramadan. But some happen on the earth, like killing of Nafs Zakiyah, or khasf, to swallow the army of Sufyani. This happens on the earth. Then another way is to divide them into things that refer to the general atmosphere before coming of Imam Mahdi, which I have mentioned in the globe before and after the advent of Imam Mahdi. For example, there will be increase in corruption, there will be lack of security, there will be illness, etc., earthquakes. These are some of the things that describe general situation. But there are also specific things like Khuruj Sufyani. This is not general, like increase of corruption or the call from sky. What inshallah we will mention in these two sessions is mostly the decisive ones, which are muttasil. Soon after them qiyam happens, not munfasil. The first thing we discuss is a call from sky. This call will be made by Jibreel, and in this call Jibreel will introduce Imam Mahdi by name, by his nasab, genealogy, and verifies his truthfulness. And after this call, Imam Mahdi will uprise. There are expressions such as nida, sayha, sawt, i'lan, far'a, hadda, with hawas, are used in Shia and Sunni hadith to refer to this call. In several hadiths, the ayah 4 of chapter 26, Surah Al-Shu'ara, is applied to this call. The ayah says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم إن نشأ ننزل عليهم من السماء آية فظلت أعناقهم لها خاضعين. This ayah is applied to the call, which will make them everyone humble. They will be prepared and humble for Imam Mahdi Ajalallah Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif. Abdullah ibn Salam says, I was with Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, and I saw someone is telling to Imam that they, meaning non-Shia, some non-Shia, they ridicule us. They say, you believe that a call will be made in the sky and will involve name of, your Imam. Imam alayhi salam, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, when heard this, he was sad, and he said, "La tarwuhu anni, warwuhu an abi." Don't narrate this from me, narrate it from my father. وَلَا حَرَجَ عَلَيْكُمْ فِي ذَلِكَ. And there is no issue, no problem. You can mention this, but mention it from my father. أَشْهَدُ أَنِّي قَدْ سَمِعْتُ أَبِي يَقُولُ. I bear witness that I heard from my father saying, وَاللَّهِ إِنَّ ذَلِكَ فِي كِتَابِ اللَّهِ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ لَبَيِّنٌ حيث يقول إن نشأ ننزل عليهم من السماء آية فظلت أعناقهم لها خاضعين. He says, my father said, by God, this is very clear in the book of Allah. And he recited this ayah from Surah Shu'ara and said, فَلَا يَبْقَى فِي الْأَرْضِ يَوْمَئِذٍ أَحَدٌ إِلَّا خَضَعَهُ وَظَلَّتْ رَقَبَتُهُ laha. Imam Baqir said there would be no person, no one on the earth unless would be humble, and they would accept this. So this is mentioned in several hadiths that the ayah refers to the call from the sky, and there are many other hadiths about this. For example, several hadiths says that this is definitely going to happen. This is decisive. For example, Muhammad ibn Ali al-Halabi quotes from Imam Sadiq that "An-nida'u min al-mahtum." The call is decisive. It's going to happen. Or Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, according to what Hassan ibn Ziyad al-Sayqal reports, said, إِنَّ الْقَائِمَ لَا يَقُومُ حَتَّى يُنَادِي مُنَادٍ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ. Imam Mahdi is not going to rise unless someone will call from sky, تسمع الفتاة في خدرها ويسمع أهل المشرق ولا. Even a young girl in her house, her home, behind the hijab, would hear. It's not that you have to go to the streets or to the mountains to hear. Even at home, you would hear. Ahlul Mashriq will hear. Ahlul Maghrib will hear. So here it says, لا يقوم حتى ينادي. In the previous one said it is mahtum. Here said it doesn't happen unless nida happens. These are different ways of saying something is definite. Or labud. For example, Hamran ibn A'yan, brother of Zurara, quotes from Imam Sadiq, من المحتوم الذي لا بد أن يكون من قبل قيام القائم خروج السفياني وخسب البيضاء وقتل النفس الزكية والمنادي من السماء. This is one of the things that must happen. Inshallah, we talk about others, but here this call from heaven. Or munada can be masdar, means nida, or munadi, the one who calls. And these are reliable hadiths. Of course, when we say this is decisive, means the call itself is decisive. But sometimes details are subject to change because of bada. For example, in some hadith, it would say that this call will be made in the month of Ramadan. This is not decisive. So throughout the year, you should be expecting that. You cannot say, okay, till month of Ramadan, it's not going to happen. No, we should be always expecting that might happen. So it doesn't need to be, for example, in the month of Ramadan or in night of Jum'ah. These can be changed. Inshallah, we'll talk about it. Who is the one who makes the call? We said it's Jibreel. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam said, Sawtu Jibreel min as-sama. Also, Abu Basir Yahya ibn Qasim quotes from Imam Baqir. الصيحة لا تكون إلا في شهر رمضان لأن شهر رمضان شهر الله والصيحة فيه هي صيحة جبرائيل إلى هذا الخلق. It's going to happen in the month of Ramadan, and the call will be from Jibreel. To be from Jibreel seems that there is no need to change. But timing, it depends on Allah's Mashiach. Maybe it's not in the month of Ramadan. So throughout the year, we should expect that. What is the content? What is going to be announced in that call? Yeah, a message must be delivered. What is the message in that call? There are two parts. One is a kind of a statement, a kind of information, a kind of introduction, and the second is a kind of instruction. When it comes to a statement or introduction, then it will be introducing Imam Mahdi Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif, and also stressing on the fact that Imam Ali alayhi salam was Imam, and he and his Shia will be having falah and fawz and felicity. For example, Hisham ibn Salim quotes from Imam Sadiq, هي الصيحة من السماء باسم صاحب الأمر. So the name of Sahib al-Amr will be mentioned. Or Muhammad ibn Ali Halabi says that Imam Sadiq said, ينادي مناد من السماء أول النهار ألا إن عليا وشيعته هم الفائزون. So not only the name of Imam Mahdi will be mentioned, it will be also said that Imam Ali and his followers are those who are successful, those who are going to have felicity. But then there is instruction also. Abu Basir quotes from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam that it will be said, ألا إن فلان ابن فلان قائم آل محمد صلى الله عليه وآله فاسمعوا له وأطيعوه. You must listen to him and obey him. So they introduce him, but then also there is instruction, there is expectation that you must follow him and obey him. 4. Who are the addressee? Who are the targeted audience? All people of the earth. It's not for a specific people or nation. Abu Basir quotes from Imam Sadiq, فَلَا يَبْقَى شَيْءٌ خَلَقَ اللَّهُ فِيهِ الرُّوحِ إِلَّا يَسْمَعُ الصَّيْحَةَ. There is no one that Allah has created which has soul, which has a spirit, unless would hear this call. We said Fatat, a young girl in home, understand. Ahlul Mashriq, Ahlul Maghrib, they all. And what is interesting is that everyone would understand it and hear it in their own language. Abu Hamza Shomali says, Imam Sadiq said, when I asked him how is this call, he said, Monadi calls in the beginning of the day, and every people would hear it in their own language. Or Zurara quotes from Imam Sadiq that it is it is general, and every group they will hear it with in their own language. These are good hadith, reliable hadith. Also, what is interesting is that they will hear it. This is a very important point. They will hear it the same way. Sometimes, for example, maybe a call is made in distance, still we can hear. But those who are closer, they can hear it better. Okay? But this call is not like that. It's not that it will be made from one point and then the voice or sound reaches other people. Hassan ibn Mahbub quotes from Imam Raza alayhi salam, قَدْ نُودُوا نِدَاءً يُسْمَعُ مِنْ بُعْدٍ كَمَا يُسْمَعُ مِنْ قُرْبٍ. There is no difference whether you are near or far, whether you live in large cities or I don't know in remote places, in Middle East, in, I don't know, Asia, North America, all will hear it. When is that nida, when that call will be made? Some hadiths say in the months of Ramadan. Some hadith says it's in the night of Jum'ah, which would be 23rd of the month of Ramadan. For example, Harith ibn Mughayra says, Imam Sadiq said, السيحة التي في شهر رمضان تكون ليلة الجمعة ل23 مضين من شهر رمضان. In the night of Jum'ah, 23 nights passed from month of Ramadan. The night of 23rd passed from the month of Ramadan. But as I said, this one we should not be thinking it's decisive. Maybe the timing will change. So we have to be ready throughout the year, because Allah has bada. Allah has, sometimes things that can change. But certainly there will be such call. There would be call from the sky, from Jibreel. All people would hear, would introduce Imam, would ask people to follow. So this by itself is a sign for truth-seeking people to believe. It's not possible that someone who is waiting for coming of Imam Mahdi, then he says, I didn't know, or I am not sure, I am in doubt. No. This sign, along other signs, each of them are enough to make you certain if you are truth-seeking. Inshallah, we talk about Khuruj Sufyani, about, inshallah, Khuruj al-Yamani, about Nafs al-Zakiyya, etc. next week, bi'Iznillah. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen.
Today, the night, for those who are connecting during the day or the night. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to raise your hand or type them, inshallah. Yes, we have a question from Brother Mahmoud. Brother Mahmoud, please go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum, dear Sheikh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Thank you, Sheikh, for your lecture.
May Allah bless you.
Sheikh, if I understood correctly the call, you mentioned أتباع أهل Imam Ali هم الفائزون, if I didn't quote it wrongly. And you said that every person would hear it in different languages and so on. I just wanted to understand a bit more on in addition to them hearing it, how would they understand it like deeply? Is it something that would be very clear to everyone? Would there be hasra that time has elapsed, they didn't do anything about the Imam, they didn't check or try to seek knowledge about who the Imam is? What would be the feeling and understanding when they hear this call?
About Imam Ali?
Yes, and the general call itself.
So you mean, for example, the people who didn't believe in Imamah of Imam Ali, what do they do? Or you mean how they understand language-wise?
So you mentioned that there will be this call from the Sama, part of it will be about Imam Ali, part of it will be about the Quran.
Yeah.
So the general call, what would be the understanding in addition to, what you mentioned that everyone would hear it? What would be the actual understanding when they hear this call? Would that be a universal understanding as well?
Yeah. My idea is this, and I have mentioned in several lectures, that when Imam Mahdi Ajalallah Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif comes, it will be very obvious. It would be like seeing the sun. So people would not have difficulty in understanding the truth. So if someone is truth-seeking, is open, is honest, would be convinced that whom should he follow? Whom should he believe and follow? Okay? This will change many, many people, because there are many good people everywhere, in all over the world, and they don't need to wait for others to pass on to them the news. It's like a mu'jiza that all can watch. In the past, when the prophets, when the Hujjaj of Allah had mu'jiza or karama, not everyone was able to watch and witness. But in Akhir zaman, because the mission is universal and we cannot wait for one place to get ready and then little by little, others. It's a universal movement, and good forces and bad forces from all over the world should get involved. So this would be a kind of extraordinary sign that all good people in all parts of the world would have the same access to it. Yes, maybe then after that they try to educate themselves more. Who is this Ali? Who is this Mahdi? They want to know more. But they realize that he's a man of God. They just want to find him and follow him.
So, inshallah, we have another question. Sheikh Ahmed Karim, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So of course, any question, please don't hesitate to ask. There was a question about the question, so you could ask. So Sheikh, now those people who try to say that this Saiha is some kind of, not miraculous, it's explained, for example, based on technology of the time, so this is not something that has any basis, but it's somehow that people would see it on their phone, for example, or just on television or something like this.
In the same way that Mu'jiza of Musa was different from magic, Mu'jiza of Isa was different from medicine. Yeah, no one could say Musa is a magician or Isa is just a good doctor, good physician. This is also not something that technology can provide. The way they hear and maybe even, I'm not saying definitely, but maybe they hear it by their heart before they hear it by their ear, you know. So there's a communication that they can, and perhaps this is why everyone can understand their own language. So maybe two people are next to each other. One is Arabic speaking, one is Urdu speaking, or one is, you know, French speaking, one is English speaking. If all these sounds are in the air, they will get confused. Yeah? There must be a way that everyone receives the sound in his or her own language. What does it mean? It means that, in my humble opinion, it goes to their heart. Like when we speak to Imam doesn't need to interpret what we say. Before our voice reaches the ear of Imam knows what we said heart to heart. So this is something totally different, a different level of a speaker, you know, for example, or relaying the voice. Just like difference between magic and Moses of Musa.
Right. MashaAllah. That's never thought of it that way.